Pause YouTube, happy Monday to all my hackers, and before anybody asks, yes, I know how to spell execution. If you watch the entire video, you will know why it's spelled like that. Now, as you can see from my opponent's team, he is running Rain as I am running Sand, and oh my lord, 5/6 of his Pokemon are threats. Arceus, if you see Extreme Killer, I'm screwed. If he gets up to +2. Mewtwo basically outspeeds my entire team, especially if I don't have my Sand up. Rayquaza, if he gets up to too many Dragon Dances, I could also be screwed. Then Kyogre, borrowing that he isn't Scarfed, is going to be a very annoying Pokemon to take down. Then Giratina, technically not a threat, but is going to be a very big nuisance seeing as it's very bulky. Then Ferrothorn, I really have nothing to worry about. So I'm going to be leading off with my own Ferrothorn, seeing as I thought that none of his Pokemon carried any fire type move, but then I completely forgot about the fact that, hey, Rayquaza's moveset runs Overheat or Fire Blast. So I was like, fuck. So I'm going to switch out into my Arceus thinking he would just go for the Overheat, but he pulls a double switch out into the Kyogre, as obviously I don't want to take a Water Spout Surf or Hydro Pump, so I'm going to pull my own switch out into my Giratina, but he pulls another good double switch out into his Rayquaza. Now, I'm thinking that he might predict me to switch out and go for the Dragon Dance, so I'm actually going to stay in and I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, but he just ends up going for the Draco Meteor, and luckily because Giratina is max special defense and max HP, I just barely live that, and I'm able to get my Will-O-Wisp off. So if he's a mixed variant, I know my Arceus and my Tyranitar will easily be able to deal with this Rayquaza and just wear it down with the appropriate moves, as I'm going to switch out into my Tyranitar because I know that I can easily take any hit from this thing and get up my rocks, as he's just going to go for another Draco Meteor. Now, if you're wondering, Rayquaza does have the airlock ability, which cancels out weather, which means my Sand isn't up, which also means that I don't have the +1 in my special defense, which is why that Draco Meteor did over 25%, as I'm going to go for the Stealth Rocks. Now, I could have gone for the Pursuit just to OHKO the Rayquaza, but I knew that getting on my rocks would benefit me more in the long run of the battle, as he brings in the Kyogre. Now, I don't know what he wants to lock himself into, because I'm still thinking that this Kyogre is going to be Scarfed, obviously because that's what 90% of them are. So I'm just going to fodder off my Godimus, seeing as there's not really anything on his team I can outspeed besides his Ferrothorn, and I know I'm not going to be able to get a free switch on that more than likely. So at that point, Giratina was just death fodder, as I get a free switch back out into my Tyranitar. Now, because I do have my +1 in my special defense, I know he's not going to want to stay in and risk now OHKOing me and in return getting OHKO'd himself. So I'm actually going to go for the Pursuit and manage to catch him as he switches into the Rayquaza. Now, obviously because I don't want to take an Earthquake or I don't want to take an Earthquake or an Outrage to the face, even though he's at -2, I need to keep my Tyranitar as much HP as possible. I'm actually going to bring in my Ferrothorn, which, because I am physically defensive, that Draco Meteor actually does a bit more than I hoped it would, but after the Life Orb and the burn damage, I'm able to get rid of one of the big potential threats as he switches into another threat. Holy crap. So because I have nothing on my team that wants to freely take a hit from this thing, I'm actually just going to leave in my Ferrothorn basically as death fodder, but to my surprise, I actually end up living that, and as you're about to see, he actually turns out to have leftovers as opposed to Life Orb. Now, that is also good and bad. It is bad because I was hoping with the Sandstorm and the Life Orb recoil I would be able to wear down this Mewtwo, but it's good because I know he's not going to be packing as much of a hard hit as he could be packing if he was carrying the Life Orb. Okay, sorry, had to clear my throat. Okay, anyways, he gets rid of my Ferrothorn, as I'm going to get a free switch out to my Excacution. Now, I'm hoping that he might predicting him to switch out and actually go for the Swords Dance. That way, I can go for the Earthquake and OHKO the Mewtwo. But no, he does make the safe switch out into his Giratina. And judging for how much damage that did, I know this Giratina is most likely max defense, max HP. Now, not wanting to take a Will-O-Wisp, I'm actually going to switch out to my Hole. But he makes another good prediction and brings in his Kyogre. Now, because of the EV spread I'm running on my Ho, I know if he is Timid Scarf, I will be able to live this Surf. But if he is Modest Scarf, I have around a 70% chance to live it either way. Luckily for me, I'm able to live it, and I'm going to be able to finish him off with the Brave Bird. And you're going to see that that play right there was very, very crucial, because now since he lost the Kyogre, that means whenever I get a free switch out into my Tyranitar, I will be able to win the Weather War, as he's going to bring in the Mewtwo. Now here, I was actually debating if I should leave in my Hole or switch out, but I do decide to switch out, thinking I might have some use for my Hole later on in the battle. But he predicts that, which was very, very risky on his part, because I could have easily OHKO'd the Mewtwo. In return, I would have OHKO'd myself, but Mewtwo, a giant there, it would have been out of the way. But this also means I get a free switch out to my Tyranitar. Now, I really don't care what he wants to go for. At this point, Tyranitar has done his job. I got my rocks up and I got my sand up, which is all I need in order to hopefully pull out the victory. So he's going to OHKO me with the Aura Sphere, as I'm going to get a free switch back out into my Excacution. And at the amount of HP the Mewtwo is at, I know an Earthquake is going to be an easy OHKO. But I am actually going to predict him to bring in the Giratina, and I'm going to go for the Shadow Claw. Now, if you're wondering why I carry Shadow Claw as opposed to Rock Slide, it's just because of Giratina, because I ran into too many situations where I wish I had Shadow Claw as opposed to Rock Slide, and as you see here, it really does help me because after the sand, I will easily be able to 2-hit kill the Giratina, a potential nuisance. Luckily, I did not allow him to rest up, and I'm able to get rid of him, as he's going to bring in the Ferrothorn. Now, because I'm a bulky Excacution as opposed to an offensive one, I know an Earthquake is more than likely going to be around a 3-hit KO, so I am going to be forced to switch out, as he does predict that and is going to go for the Leech Seed. Unfortunately, he does leech my hole, but I'm hoping that he might predict me to switch out, not wanting to take the Sandstorm damage and the Leech Seed damage and stay in with this Ferrothorn and go and allow me to finish it off with the Sacred Fire. But no, he does make the safe switch out to the Arceus, which I was thinking was Arceus normal, but as you're going to see, he turns out to be Arceus Electric. Now, I really have or had no idea what Arceus Electric does. Luckily, I'm actually able to burn him with the 50% chance. Unfortunately, because of the Leech Seed, he's going to be gaining back a lot of HP, so I know I don't want to stay in and allow him to possibly be brought up to full HP after he goes for the recover. So I'm actually going to switch out into my own Arceus Rock, and because of the +1 in my special defense, I'm going to be easily able to take that Thunder. And here, I think I actually just end up going for the recover, just wanting to see what he wanted to do, thinking that maybe he was carrying the Focus Blast. But I believe it was this point that I looked up the moveset of Arceus Thunder, and it turns out that they run Calm Mind, Recover, Thunder / Focus Blast, or Ice Beam. So I know he's not going to be running the Focus Blast, because if he was, then he should have gone for it by now, or maybe he just wants to get some boosts. So I'm just going to say, and I'm going to go for the Judgment, hoping that I can knock him down to a point where I can get a free switch out to my Excacution, because at this point, that's all I need to pull out the victory. And because he is at that low amount of HP, even if he did go for the Ice Beam, I will be able to take it and in return to finish him off the following turn with an Earthquake. But he actually does end up going for the recover, which means the following turn, as I said, I can take an Ice Beam and I'm going to be able to get up a free Sword Dance. But he actually opts to switch out, and at this point, I have the stand up, I have an Excacution at +2, Arceus Electric OHKO'd by Earthquake, Mewtwo at the HP that he's at OHKO'd by Earthquake, and Ferrothorn is going to be 2-hit KO by Earthquake. So luckily I managed to make a comeback with my Excadrill. Now, if you guys are wondering why I posted this, because actually it was a very close game. As you can see, my opponent made a lot of good plays, but it really came down to that play with the Kyogre, like in on my Ho-Oh. Luckily I did stay in, risked it for the biscuit, and I was able to finish him off for the Brave Bird, allowing me to win the Weather War. So yeah guys, if you enjoyed the quick battle, make sure to click the like button, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment, you know what to do. Also, before the video ends, I want to say, for those of you who don't read my description, I actually do leave my Facebook fan page, I leave my Tumblr down there, and I leave my Skype, which is why I never reply to anybody who asks me what my Skype is, because you can just read the description. But yeah, with that guys, I do believe I am out of here, and yeah, later.